Injuries and returning players are going to have a major effect on what the Cardinals do moving forward. Plus, we'll talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates series, which ended on a sour note, for sure. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can find me on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio and the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We do want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And if you don't want to do it the audio way, you can go visual. Find us on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Up to 10,300 subscribers and growing. Appreciate you. So stop on by, hit that notification button so you know when the new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking. Yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. So the Cardinals had one of their most exciting wins of the season on Tuesday night, right? They take down the previously undefeated Skenes and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Unfortunately, they followed that up with an absolute stinker on Wednesday afternoon, and they lose 2 out of 3 in the series. We're going to talk more about those particular games, how they made us feel, how they made me feel. We'll do that later on in segment 3. But first, I want to circle back to what we all have our minds on for the most part right now. Yeah, the games that are on the field, we're paying attention and we want to watch them and stuff, but we're all starting to get a little antsy about this trade deadline, aren't we? I know I am. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I'm prepared for nothing to happen, but I'm excited for it all. It's the fun time of year when you have a team that is in the running for a playoff spot. It's also a fun time. Remember last year, I know the Cardinals had to sell, but it was still interesting. And, it was something that we hadn't done in a long time where the Cardinals were sellers and were trading off pieces, and you were curious about who they were going to get in return for all these guys. And it's going on right now. It's the hottest topic in baseball at the moment. It's who's in, who's out, who's buying, who's selling. And the rumors will continue to swirl as teams continue to make decisions on where they see their particular team this year, like how far they think they're going to go this year, and of course, where they see their franchise going in years to come. One of the big things that will affect the Cardinals really depends on the injury situation with 3 particular people. First person is Tommy Edman, who is set to return to Springfield, the Springfield lineup tonight, Wednesday night, as the designated hitter. Haven't had a chance to see how he's done so far. Hopefully he's playing. I don't know yet. He was in the lineup, I can tell you that much. But he's returning to the lineup, and this is good news since he's had a lot of issues this year, which have prevented him from playing baseball at all. First, you had the recovery from wrist surgery, which was enough on its own. Then on top of that, you then had the ankle issue after he stepped on second base awkwardly during fielding drills on June 25th. And we're like, you got to be kidding me. Something else? And then it appeared like he was past it. Like, okay, he twisted his ankle. He's going to be fine. Ends up playing 4 games with Springfield prior to the break. Goes 4 for 14, 2 walks, 4 RBIs. Looks like he's on his way back. But then he starts experiencing pain in the ankle again over the All-Star break. They end up giving him a pain-killing injection. And tonight, Wednesday night, he's just getting back on the field again. Simply said, 2024 has not been pleasant for Tommy Edman. But he hasn't quit yet. And we can only assume that by August, he'll be back with the Cardinals, barring any more setbacks. And that would be huge for this team if he's the same Tommy Edman that we've seen over his entire career, because they would be adding a hitter who can hit from both sides of the plate, one who has been better at hitting left-handed pitching, which is something they desperately need. If you saw today's game, you know what I'm talking about. He's an infielder and an outfielder, so very versatile, elite defensively, no matter where you put him, and he adds a speed threat. Like Tommy Edman coming back would be a monster. You would get all of this with one guy. So let's hope that this has been the last of the setbacks for one Tommy Edman this year. Next on the list here, a guy by the name of Riley O'Brien. Who? Haven't seen him in a while, have you? Look at him. There's the photo. He's like covering me up in the video. Now this is awkward looking. I got to get behind him a little bit so I don't look like, look at that. There he is. I don't know how I did that graphic where it's that way, where it looks like he's in the studio with me, but whatever. Anyway, Riley O'Brien, kind of been the forgotten man for this team after coming in with all that hype in spring training. We were all really excited about, this hidden gem that the Cardinals seemingly found in the Mariners system. And then after one appearance, to quote the great movie, The Shawshank Redemption, he vanished like a fart in the wind. Flexor tendon pain in the throwing elbow. I feared the worst. Thought his season was over. Surgery was incoming. But lo and behold, Riley kept working. Training staff kept working. And he was able to make his first rehab assignment with AAA Memphis on July 20th. He allowed a hit, pair of walks over his sole inning of work. First time back in a game on the mound. I mean, obviously gonna be a little bit rusty. His second rehab outing was on Tuesday, July 23rd. Fired another scoreless inning in relief on one hit. Is set to pitch again for Memphis on July 26th. What do the Cardinals lack in the bullpen right now? Go ahead. Raise your hand. What do they lack right now in the bullpen? Right-hander. Another righty that can help Kittredge and Fernandez out in those high leverage situations. Much respect to rookies Chris Roycroft, who did fine today. Kyle Leahy's been good when he's been brought up. Veteran Giovanni Gallegos looked good today. But it's a spot that needs an upgrade. It needs some help. It needs some attention. It needs improvement. And a healthy Riley O'Brien, from what we've seen, could provide that. But he's not a guy that has this stellar background. This resume that says, hey, he's been there before. He can do it for you. We don't know. We don't know if we can trust him or not. We thought he was on the path to be a really good addition to the team this year, but we never got to see it in the regular season because he had one appearance and got hurt. And then, of course, there is Steven Matz, Steven Matz. He's been dealing with lingering back pain. He's been out since May 1st. He's up. He's down. You never know how good he's going to be or how bad he's going to be. And at this point, I'm just going to chalk him up as someone who maybe could join the bullpen at some point. We've seen him be successful in the bullpen for the Cardinals before. We've seen him be successful as a starter before. But I don't know how you can put your faith in him to come back and be a starter of significance moving forward this year. He is back next year. He's got another year on the contract. So I'm sure we'll go through this whole circus with Steven Matz and his injuries again next year. But as far as this year, what can you really expect out of him? So the clock is ticking on John Mozeliak and the Cardinals to figure out how aggressive they should be at the deadline for these three pieces that we've been talking about for weeks. Someone who can hit left-handed pitching, a starter, a bullpen armor too. If you can get two of them, why not? Mo spoke recently about the state of the trade market, and you'll never guess what word he used to describe things. That's coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, with summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games. It's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. And yeah, we're talking about the rival cities. We're talking about Cincinnati. We're talking about Pittsburgh, although we don't have to go back there, hopefully at all, again here in 2024. But they were just there. And it's a beautiful park. It's a beautiful part of town. It's nice to go to these places. Going to Wrigleyville in Chicago, it's fun. Get to go to Milwaukee. These are fun things to do to go see the Cardinals take on the division rivals. And with hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival city. Just booked a hotel in St. Louis on Booking.com to because I'm going to be there this weekend, and we don't want to stay with my parents, so we got a hotel because we're adults, and that's what you do. You don't have to stay at your parents anymore. So we're going to do that. And we were able to get a great deal. Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. And let's not forget about all your Little League tournaments in different cities this summer as well. Booking.com's got you covered there too. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals, even your hometown. You can find even if you live in St. Louis, you can find a hotel with Booking.com. So book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. You're not going up against other people, just the numbers. Just got to crunch those numbers. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and then you watch the winnings roll in. You can get in on the daily action with your friends and become a part of the PrizePicks community. And you can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. And if you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks, they're the best. They got you covered each week, from lowering select players' stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or by getting you your entry fees back if you just so happen to have a losing lineup on Fridays. And it's also available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, Georgia. So if you're doing traveling this year, you can still use PrizePicks in that many states. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with PrizePicks. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Got to turn it down because they keep shouting? Then make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. You get the can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, and it's streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So the Cardinals are going to be heading home this weekend to take on the Washington Nationals, and you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Cardinals. Tom Ackerman at KMOX gets a chance to talk with John Mozeliak frequently. Sundays is usually when that goes down, and he's always good for dropping some solid nuggets of information. I would love to be able to talk to John Mozeliak and get stuff like this, but Tom Ackerman is the guy. And when he was asking Mo about the trade market, he used the one word that we've heard over and over and over and over and over again. And that word was patience. And if you don't believe me, just listen to this itty-bitty clip about John Mozeliak and how many times he said
this is a little patience. So just be patient, being patient about this and too patient. So really just ask for people's patience in all of this. I'd ask from our fan base right now is a little bit of patience, or a little bit of patience. This is a little patience. So just be patient.
I can go on and on and on and on, and I can keep going. But that's the word of yours. And we've heard it before, but at this point, it may not be because of Mo this time. We're not being patient with Mo. It's actually Mo telling us to be patient because he's got to be patient right now because we're waiting on other teams to decide their future. And I've said repeatedly on the show how that things are going to be a little bit difficult at the trade deadline. It's going to get interesting because so many teams are still within striking distance of a wild card spot. And that, you've had the recent runs of the Phillies and of the Diamondbacks, wild card teams that are giving people hope. And it's going to make some teams decide to stick around in the race a little bit longer than normal. Teams like, the Pirates. Just a couple of weeks ago, you were like, they're probably not going to go anywhere. And now they're 2 games over 500 after taking 2 of 3 from the Cardinals. They're playing very well. They've been one of the best teams in baseball over the last 10 to 15 games. The Reds are 4 games under 500. And there are rumors that they're willing to listen. They're like, hey, you need a relief pitcher, give us a buzz. We got some expiring contracts. Call us. Hey, call us. We're available. But there's also talk that whoa, hold on. We're not waving the white flag. I mean, you can call us. We'll listen to you. But we don't feel the need like we have to sell anything yet. Over in the American League, you got the defending champion Rangers, 3 under 500, 6.5 games back in the wild card. They're still undecided. They're going to be a big piece of what goes on here at the trade deadline, because they've got a lot of guys that people are going to want to get their hands on. But if they decide not to trade and want to buy because they're getting dudes back from injuries, then it's going to swing things in a different direction. The Tampa Bay Rays are just 4.5 back. We just heard, open for business, right? They've already traded away Aaron Savali, Phil Maton. Randy Arozarena's name is out there. Zach Eflin's name is out there. Pete Fairbanks. But yet, here they are, just 4.5 back still. Are they done? Are they going to cash out? We don't know yet. And there are rumors galore just floating around the league and the internet, but not all that many involving the Cardinals right now. And I have to believe that it's because in the pecking order of teams looking to do something, the Cardinals, they're just not at the top of everything right now. I do believe they'll make a move or two, but it's nothing like the guys that are being talked about a lot right now. They're not going to chase down the biggest names. Like, I would love to see them get Brent Rooker out of Oakland. Would be a monster addition to this lineup. But there are a lot of people that want somebody like that. You know, Detroit Tigers ace Tarek Skubal, an absolute beast, one of the top pitchers in baseball, is reportedly being sought after by the Dodgers and the Orioles, and that other teams would join them if the Tigers decide to make him available, which they haven't really done yet. They haven't said, all right, bring me your best offers. But like any franchise, any good franchise, you should always listen, because you never know when somebody's going to come at you with some just crazy deal. One where you're just like, okay, we'll take it. I mean, of course, the Cardinals could use Tarek Skubal. But are they at this point where they are in their franchise? Are they going to give up what it takes to get somebody like him? The Tigers are going to ask for Tink Hence, Jordan Walker, names like this, okay? Tink Hence, Jordan Walker, Quinn Matthews, Victor Scott, Koa Roby, Cooper Jerpy, Chase Davis, Lars Nootbaar probably. Like, those are the guys they're going to ask for. And I'm not saying all of them in one deal, but a combination of those kind of guys, your top dudes. Some people think he'd be worth it, and he might be, to be honest. He might be. Because you have him under control for another couple of years. He's arbitration eligible for 2 more before becoming a free agent. I mean, he's really, really good. But it's the Cardinals. Do you see them jumping into that bidding war along with the Dodgers and the Orioles? Probably not. The Phillies are apparently interested in 2 things that are also on the Cardinals shopping list. They want a relief pitcher, and they want somebody who can hit left-handed pitching, right-handed hitter, preferably in the outfield. Nationals closer Kyle Finnegan and outfielder and former Cardinal Lane Thomas are the guys that apparently the Phillies are interested in. Adding those guys to the Cardinals roster on paper seems like a perfect fit, right? But when a team like the Phillies want the same thing that you want, which franchise are you putting your money on being aggressive enough to win that bidding war? You going to bet on the Cardinals, or are you going to bet on the Phillies? The Dodgers, also reportedly on top of the Tarek Skubal, are reportedly in on trying to get both Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert Jr. from the White Sox. Again, 2 guys who would fit the needs perfectly in St. Louis. You get a pitcher who's on the upswing. He's young, doesn't cost you a lot right now as far as money. You got him locked up for a little while. Luis Robert Jr. locked up for a while. You've seen how good he can be when he's healthy. But the team is unlikely to give up the big name prospects it's going to take to pull those guys away. And then you're going up against, again, the Dodgers. The Dodgers do not care about prospects because they keep churning them out. And then they just ship them off to go get whatever their needs are right now. Not concerned about next year or the year after that, really. They want to win tonight. They want to win this year. It's what they did to land Tyler Glasnow in the offseason. Worked out pretty good. It's what they did back in 2021. Remember, they went and got Trey Turner and Max Scherzer. Monster deal. They will presumably be willing to give up top guys again this year. And if it doesn't work, they'll go buy whomever they need to in the offseason, and then they'll try to get next year. That's what you can do with a payroll like the Dodgers. And when you get like a Shohei Ohtani who comes in and then gives you that crazy discount, like he helped it out. I mean, how huge was that of Shohei to do what he did? But these are the teams that the Cardinals are competing with to land players who could help them. And they're all fighting over the same guys. And it's hard to trust John Mozeliak and the Cardinals to be the aggressive ones to go get those pieces ahead of these other teams. At least it is for me. I don't know how you feel. So it won't be easy. And any move that they do decide to make is probably not going to be up to the standards of what the fans are hoping for. They don't want to hear excuses. Go get these guys. Go get Rooker. Go get Zach Eflin. Go get a relief pitcher of some sort. And go for the title. That's what they want to hear. Is it realistic, though? The Cardinals go after those guys. I'm sure they'll call and ask, but probably going to be a quick phone call. It's going to wrap up with some thoughts on the Pirates series next and why Tuesday night was so much fun and then how Wednesday was not at all. It's coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Going to baseball games in St. Louis, it is a tradition. I will be there on Saturday. My grandmother turns 99 years old. We're going to celebrate in Freeze Landing. So if you're out in that vicinity of the ballpark and you want to say hi, by all means, come on over and say hi. I would love to talk to you. But you're like me. You and the family. You grow up in St. Louis, and you want to go to Busch Stadium. You want to go to Ballpark Village. You want to get a pregame meal. You don't want to eat too much because you want to save room for hot dogs. And then it's on to Busch Stadium to cheer on the Cardinals. And when you need tickets to the game, look no further than the Gametime app, because that's what I use, and you should too. Gametime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. It makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app, they actually go down the closer you get to the first pitch with those killer last-minute deals. You get the all-in prices. You get the views from your seat, and you get their lowest price guarantee. Takes the guesswork out of buying tickets to Major League Baseball games. Lowest price guarantee or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. It's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with our local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows, which cover every league. You can find it now available on the free Fire TV channels app. So let's go back to Tuesday night when life was much better. It was a special night at PNC in Pittsburgh, and for all the right reasons. Cardinals lose on Monday by a score of 2-1. Tough loss. Cardinals had just a one-game lead over the Pirates coming into Tuesday night's game. Pirates have been playing as good as any team in the league recently. With a win, the Pirates could not only gain ground in the division, but also draw even with the Cardinals in the wild card race, which right now seems very much more obtainable for both franchises than catching and overtaking the Milwaukee Brewers, who just will not go into a long slump. They just continue to win 2, lose 1, lose 2, win 2. Like, it's just up and down. They're not running away with things anymore, but they're not losing ground either. They just continue to stay just out of reach of all of us. So the Pirates had their phenom, Paul Skenes, on the mound, one of the best pitching prospects anyone has ever seen. He's coming off his start for the National League in the All-Star game. He's got his famous girlfriend in the crowd, Olivia Dunn. He's undefeated at 6-0. Whole city's behind him. He's their new hero. And he's going up against the Cardinals and our Grizzly veteran Lance Lynn, right? The old man, the big guy. And it was a playoff atmosphere in July in Pittsburgh between the Cardinals and the Pirates. Something, if you watched these teams last year, you did not expect. But here we are. Every pitch, every play could change the course of the game. It was intense. It was exciting. Nolan Arenado, the big fly, tagged Skenes in the 5th inning with his 10th home run of the year. Solo shot into the left field stands, just out of the reach of, Brian Reynolds in left field. Almost robbed it. Surprisingly, Skenes has given up 8 home runs this year, which caught me off guard. I didn't realize that he'd given up that many home runs already. But outside of that, he's dominating the Cardinals. He gave up only 2 hits in the game until the 9th inning. Meanwhile, you got Lance Lynn over here doing his thing. There's a photo of Lance. Looking good, brother. Going toe-to-toe against, top pitching prospect in the world right now. He picks up his 2,000th career strikeout in this game. Only 5 other active pitchers have that many, and 3 of them are for sure Hall of Famers. So very nice, very well-deserved milestone for Lance Lynn. But the Pirates, after Lance Lynn comes out after 6, they get to the Cardinals bullpen in the 8th inning. They tie it up at 1. And the Pirates decide to make a decision that they're going to stick with Paul Skenes in the 9th inning. Crowd goes bonkers, right? He emerges from the dugout, and they're like, yeah, here he is. Never before had pitched this long in a major league game. Was about to hit the 100 pitch mark. And I'll be honest, I was surprised because I thought Skenes looked like he was getting tired a little bit. Not so much in velocity or anything like that. It just, you could see him on the mound just, just body language and stuff just showed me that, he was getting tired out there, And what do you know? You get a leadoff double by Michael Ciani, a guy that's not even supposed to be on the team this year. Called out at second, but then it was overturned correctly to a safe call. Mason Wynn moves him over with a ground ball to the first base side. And then for whatever reason, the Pirates decide to stick with Skenes against the left-hander Burleson, one of the hottest hitters on the planet, and he burns him for an RBI single, rips one into right center. Helsley comes in next inning, blows the Pirates away, game, set, match. Just an outstanding baseball game. So much fun to watch, so exciting. Like I had that, that high you get after something like super exciting happened in your life and you're just like bouncing around. That's how I felt. Like it was amazing. You beat Paul Skenes, you beat the Pirates in a great game for both franchises. And you got all this momentum coming into the game on Wednesday. And we knew it was going to be a bullpen game. So you're kind of like, not sure how it's going to go with Matthew Liberatore on the mound. And it was the exact opposite of Tuesday night. Cardinals showed little to no life whatsoever in this game. Perhaps a bit worn down because of the road trip. But they get shut out 5-0. The Cardinals were hitless in 5 at-bats with a runner in scoring position. They hit into 3 double plays. They left 11 runners on base. It was the worst of the worst offensively for this team this year. Matthew Liberatore gets the start in, again, a scheduled bullpen game. It's not like this was a surprise. And he wasn't any good. He just wasn't. Liberatore hit the leadoff batter in the 2nd inning with a pitch before allowing 3 hits. He walks 2. He was his own worst enemy in that inning. The big blow was that 2-run, 2-out double by Connor Joe that goes off Dylan Carlson's glove in center field. Carlson in the game because they're facing a left-hander in Martin Perez. And Carlson normally in his career hits lefties well. So they were like, all right, Ciani does not hit lefties all that well. Let's give him a day off. They'll get back-to-back days because they're off on Thursday. And that ball that went off of Carlson's glove, Ciani probably catches it in his back pocket. No problem. But DC is not the great Ciani in center field. He's just not. And instead, the ball falls, makes it 4-0. Libby gives up a home run to Rowdy Tellez, which it's on TV. It says it landed in the water, but I don't even know if it's landed yet. That was an absolute bomb. And that was it for Matthew Liberatore. Credit to Chris Roycroft and Giovanni Gallegos. Talked about them earlier. All zeros after that, but the offense nowhere to be found. Got some tweets from people who were at the game were like, I haven't seen the team look this just blah all season. And it felt that way. You could sense it from the way things were going on TV. It's the 3rd time they've been shut out this season. First time since April 21st. So it's not like it's happened a bunch, but they struggle hitting left-handers. And Martin Perez shoot them up today. Coming in today, they were hitting 224 as a team. against lefties, 254 against righties. They need help. They need a bat plus Tommy Edman, in my opinion. They need Tommy Edman coming back. They need to add a bat and help with this problem because they cannot hit left-handers very well, which is weird because for many years, the righties or the Cardinals clubbed left-handed pitching. They just destroyed them. And for whatever reason this year, it's not happening. 3 runs in 3 games is not going to cut it if you get into the playoffs. So if you don't, and I get it. The Pirates aren't they're not the Phillies or the Dodgers stuff, but they're right there in the playoff push. So you can't overlook them and think, oh, same old Pirates. They're not. And they're not playing like that right now. So if you get into a series in the playoffs and you're going to go up against teams who line up similar to what you just saw in Pittsburgh, where it's going to be 2 of their top pitchers and then another guy, and one of them is probably going to be left-handed. And the Cardinals scored 3 runs in 3 games. That's not going to get it done. Not going to get it done if you even make it to the playoffs. So they need help. Cardinals can't beat a 3-pitcher setup like that. They're not good enough. They need help. So it needs to be addressed in some way, shape, or form. Clock's ticking, like I said. Trade deadline coming up. All right, they got the day off on Thursday. Everybody rest. Everybody relax. Back home against Washington at Busch Stadium on Friday. A Washington Nationals team which has waved the white flag. So hopefully their energy's kind of, we're not going anywhere. We'll see. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter, X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube. If you haven't already, do me a solid to help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.